Saint Joan is a real life character, 1400s, early 1400s, France. Well, before there was France, but in the area that we know as France today, who as a 17-year-old girl, 17, Simeon, 16, 17, and believed that she heard voices that told her to collect an army, relieve the city of Orleans, which the English were sitting in, and after the relief of Orleans, to crown the Dauphin, which was to crown Charles VII. So she's, and within 1617 she did that. So in this terrible male-dominated environment, patriarchic world, this young girl achieved all of these things in this time, and ultimately the English captured her after she had done the things that she said she would do. They imprisoned her for a year, and then she was put on trial, and she was put on trial for lots of things, but she was burnt at the stake for what the Catholic Church regarded as heresy. A few years later, that trial was overturned, mostly because Charles VII didn't want to have a witch the reason why he became king. And then in the 1920s, she was made a saint. And George Bernard Shaw was entirely fascinated by the character. And the play itself, in the trial scene 6, there's evidence, some of the text is actually direct quotation from the play itself. So it's a wonderful historic piece, but of course it's Shaw, and so he has a point about it. It's written in the 20s, and it's between World War I and World War II, and it's after the Treaty of Versailles and the set up of the League of Nations and the rise of nationalism, which of course ultimately led to World War II. And so Shaw is with some perspicacity looking at those events. I live directed maybe 4 or 5 other Shaw plays, Man and Superman, Man Alliance, and down at the theatre, Genesian Theatre, many years ago I did Heartbreak House. I've directed some of the one-act plays as well. And I just think that Shaw's a wonderfully muscular playwright intellectually, and is enormously funny as well. And I think it's interesting, the Sydney Theatre Company did Pygmalion, and now next year they're doing Mrs. Warren's Profession. So there seems to me a kind of a Shavian renaissance. And so that's what interests me. It's funny and smart and clever. And this was the play that, after this play was presented or written, Shaw was given the Nobel Prize for Literature, and I'm sure this was the keystone to all of his other work. And so it's been a great fun to work on, because it's so smart that when you leave the rehearsal space you feel quite enervated, quite excited really about the rehearsal, and just because the text is so strong. It's long and it's full of words. So what the audience should come to the theatre, and as an audience, an audio to hear. I think they'll be stimulated by the arguments in the play, and moved. It's a terribly moving play in the end, but it's very cynical and very worldly and witty. So it's kind of an old-fashioned evening of real theatre going, where you will arrive and be a different person at the end of the play in a very positive way. I think. We've got 12 men and 1 woman, and we're doing a Peter Brook production at the Genesians, where we have a multiracial casting, which is, it's very exciting to have. Saint Joan is Sabrina Tao. I worked with her when she was a student at NIDA, and I was working there as well. She's Samoan. I have a boy from Eritrea, African boy. I have a Chinese boy from Hong Kong. We have an actual Frenchman, and we have an actual Scots as well. So it's actually quite amazing to be on the floor with these people who And the really great thing is about, and then age-wise as well, you've got people like Michael Barnicoat and Marty O'Neill. So you've got people that are very experienced, and but that the great good fortune and accident that I've had is they're all very brainy as well. So it's been quite fun to deal with their brains as I've tried to sort out the play. They're excited by the play and stimulated by the play as well.
Yeah.
But it is the wickedness of Shaw, I think, just the sheer sense of humour. He's Irish background, so it's that kind of Irish imp, really. He's kind of an imp where he takes ideas and twists it around. So I'm sure the audience will be quite surprised at the play, at how funny it is. And, and we're certainly moved it in that way, directing it in that way. So the first scene is a kind of low music hall, really, and people might have come to see Saint Joan, this terribly deadly serious play about the burning of a woman at a stake, but actually it does move into that darker zone, but it's quite a journey so it's not ponderous, but it's very, very funny, which takes you, it surprises you, I think.
Yeah.
And the girl playing Saint Joan, it's a gigantic role. Some people think it's the equivalent for a woman playing Hamlet. I don't think it's quite as intellectually dense as that, but it's certainly as muscular as that. So it's one of those roles that Sabrina's only 21 or 22. It's one of those roles that she's doing now as training for some other time. You can't help but be better as an actor, for all of them really, by having tackled it. The theatre is only as good as its audience, so if the audience come ready, they'll have a great time, and the actors will have a great time with them.